Hello everybody and welcome to the sixth lesson that we have here, which is going to be featuring tens and ones. So there are more than tens and ones. There's hundreds, thousands, hundreds of thousands, millions, but as of now we're going to be going to the tens and ones, and actually the next video, the seventh video that I'm planning to do, is going to be with the hundredths, maybe thousands. I have to see if I could do that, and just to move on and get the rhythm going. But as of now, our lesson is going to be on tens and ones, and I'll explain to you what that is. You'll understand it. We'll use blocks to demonstrate it, and so forth. So I've attached worksheets for you to do. The worksheet number 4 is actually quite difficult because it involves addition as well. But I think if you understand the trend of tens and ones, I think you'll be able to do it, and games as well. So here we have what I like to call a place value chart. Draw it with an arrow. Place value chart. Now if you search that up, there'll be hundreds over here, thousands to the right of it, but as I said before, we're focusing on tens and ones. So what I mean by tens and ones is, I'm just going to say a random number. Let's put 1, 2, 7, 5, 8. What I'm saying by the place value is that this 2 has specific value. It doesn't mean 2, it means something else. For instance, you can't place this 2 in between the 5 and 8 because this 2 has to be in this spot for a specific reason. So when we're talking about tens and ones, we're talking about two-digit numbers. For instance, the number 37. How many places does it have? 2. Now, you're going to only know the 2 places. And the 2 places is a 10 and a 1. So I want you to take a guess and guess which one is the tens place and which one is the ones place. Okay. For some of you that got it correct, congratulations. For some of you that did not, don't worry about it. You have no idea what this thing is about, so it was basically a guess. But the tens place is the 3, ones place is the 7. So when we move forward to the right, we have more places. So the number all the way to the right is the ones place, then it goes to the tens place. And that's all you need to know. Now I want to demonstrate this with blocks or cubes, for instance. So let's get my 1 cube. Okay. So if I had 1 cube, I have 2 now. So count those cubes for me. How many do I have? 2. So if I said what number is represented by the cubes listed in this box, you would say 2 because there's 2 cubes. Now each cube represents a ones place. But each block of cubes over here represents a 10. So this, count it, and you'll see that it's a 10. So if I put this together, what number would I get? Exactly. I would get 12. Why? How many little blocks did we have? 2. How many big blocks did we have? 1. And since a 2 represents the 1 goes all the way to the right, and the 1 represents the 10 because the 10's the big block, it goes to the left. 10, 1. There you go. Let's show another example. Okay, so I've set the slide up, put tens blocks and ones blocks. Now, just so we freshen up, which ones is the tens blocks and which ones are the ones blocks? Exactly. The big one is the tens block and the small one's the one block. And that's because, if you see over here, sorry, lost track of where I was going, but as you can see up here, the reason why the little ones are the ones and the big ones the 10 is because 10 of the little ones equals one big 10. So this represents the tens place, and these represent the ones place. Now figure this out. Figure out what number it is. Now pause the video. I'm going to take 5 seconds. Try to solve it. Okay, so we have how many tens blocks? 5. And we have, whoopsies, kind of bad, sorry, 9 ones blocks. So since 5 is the 10, where does the 10 go? Well, actually, no. We're doing the ones first because we like to go from ones, then tens, because it'll help us in the future. Since we have 9 one blocks, so where would we place the 9? Exactly, all the way to the right. And the 5 to the left. And what is that number? 59. If you want to know it in words, that's what 59. It's the number we have over here. So now, we're going to start to divert from the blocks and we're going to transition into not needing the blocks. Watch. Okay, so let's take the number 78, 76. So we're going to do 2 more examples and then you'll really get the hang of this. You just got to do it a couple times, once, twice, even a little bit more if you need, and you'll be golden. So 76, 7, 6. So how many tens, actually, we're going to cut this in half. Which one's the ones? Which one's the 10? There you go. The 10 is all the way to the left, and the 1 is all the way to the right. So how many 1 blocks do we have? 6, right? And how many big 10 blocks? 9, 10. Sorry for my drawing, but how many 10 blocks do we have? 7. Perfect. So since we have 7 10 blocks and 6 1 blocks, we have a 7 and then a 6. Now, for you to understand this, why it becomes a 7 and a 6 and why we place it that way, per se we had 7 10 blocks. And if you counted all those out, how many little blocks, like each individual little block, would you have? 70. And if you counted the little blocks, how many would you have? 6. So if we add all those blocks together, we would have 76. So this is just a little shortcut of just counting the tens blocks and writing the 7 to the left, and then counting the ones blocks and writing that number to the right. It's just a little shortcut instead of doing all this math. Because if I just see 8 and 4, how many 10s and how many 1s are there? Or how many 10 blocks and how many 1 blocks are there? Exactly, 8 10s and 4 1s. My 8's not that great, but when I say 8 10s, I mean 10 blocks, for example. When I say 4, I mean 4 little cubes, blocks. Because if I counted all those 10 blocks together, I would have 80. The 1 block's 4. Add that all together, you get 84, and et voila. Get 84. So I'm going to move on to the next slide. So basically, that's just how you demonstrate it and how you understand it. So we get a number, we figure out the places that it's at, and then we realize which place is the number. Like this number. We realize that this would be the tens place, this would be the ones place. So then we would know, oh, there's 1 10 and 4 ones, because 4 is in the ones place. Since 4 is in the ones place, there has to be 4 ones and 1 10. And if there's 1 10 block, that means it's the number 10, because if we counted all those little blocks together, we would just add a 0 to it. Imagine that we broke this number in two. We would have a 10 and a 4. We would have 14, because 10 plus 4, 1 block. Now if I had this number, what would this number be? Like how 1 turned into 10, what would this one be? And there's a trick. It would be with 3 zeros after it, because there are 3 numbers to the right of it. Since in this number, which is 14, there's 1 number to the right of this number. There's 1 0. So it's 10. Like in 76, we said it was 70 because there's 1 number after it, so it's a 70. Like for example, this number, the 5, 1 number after it, 50. Same thing with the 4. How many numbers are after the 4? 2. 400. Now I know I went a little bit fast on this topic, but it was just because of the fact that I felt it wasn't as too complex as compared to the other topics that we've done in the past. And I just want to be able to get all the things I wanted to say out of my head, because then it would be easier for me to transition into the hundredths and thousands place, which we will be doing in the next video. And that would not be for you guys, but if you guys want to get a step ahead in your learning, or just want to know more, feel free to check out that video, which will be the next video. So I'm going to give you one more example, and then I'm going to say my farewells. So if I had a number, let's say this. Figure out how many tens, how many ones, and what would I write here to get the number. I'm going to give you 5 seconds in the video, but you feel free to pause it. Okay, so as we know before, when we split a number down, this side is the ones. This side with the 4 is the tens. So how many ones and tens do we have? Well, since 8 is in the 1 spot, there's 8 ones. And since 4 is in the 10 spot, there are 4 tens. And as I said before, there are 2 numbers, because there are 2 digits. But we're not going to write 4 and 8, because we're not directly drawing the digits down. We have to add zeros where we have to, right? So is there a number past the 8? No. So the 8 goes by itself. Because, for example, with the blocks, 8 represents the little blocks. And if we counted 8 little blocks, we would have 8. But the 4, there's a number to the right, but there's only 1 number. Since there's only 1 number, we add 1 0. Because remember, the big blocks, had 10. And it's 4 of that. So in this one, there's 10. in this block. But there was 4 of them. So if we counted, we would have 40 little blocks like that. But instead of counting all of that, we could just use the rule of if there's a number to the right, we just add a 0. And just a little side note, if I said there was 6 tens working from reverse and 4 ones, what number would that be? Exactly, 64. Even easier, right? Because the tens go to the right position and the ones go to the left position. So you don't have to think 4, 8, which one is the tens, which ones are the ones. No. And then you have to finally say, oh, there's 4 tens, 8 ones. No. You could just know that the tens go to the right, ones are to the left, and bada bing, bada boom, there you go. And if I also said, let me think of a number, 30, oh, that's bad. This number, 30, plus this number, what would it equal? Now, some of you might not have gone to this level, like where I say 90 plus 5, which was written over there. But use what we said with the 40 and 8. Now I'm going to explain it to you. The number 6 has no 0 next to it. So would there be any numbers to the right of 6 since it has no zeros? Exactly, just how the 8 had no zeros, nothing over here, it was the number all the way at the end. So 6 is going to be all the way at the end. And 30 had 1 0. So how many numbers are going to be next to the 3? 1 number is going to be next to the 3. Do we have any more numbers than that? No. And that's why it's 36. But since we're only use that method for advanced. I want you thinking like that for advanced. But I'm going to give you the little trick just so you can be able to fly through it. The number with the 0 is the 10. The number without 1 is the 1. So on the ones, we know go to the right. And the 8 is the number in this one, which is the 10. As we said over here, 10s go where? To the right. We get number 85. But I want you thinking like the one that we said over here. For example, in this one, since 5 has no number next to it, there's no number to the right of 5, but 8 has a 0 next to it, so it has to have 1 number next to it because there's 1 0. Because then we're going to get to numbers like, as you see on the top screen, 700 plus 50 plus 1, and we're going to have to figure it out. And we can't use the trick of, oh, if it has a 0, then we put it in the 10th spot, because these both have zeros. But that's just like a little hint into the future for you guys. If you're planning on watching the extra video, well, I would go on a little bit extra into this topic. And I'm debating whether including the thousands or not. But you'll see in the next video what I decide. And hopefully you guys are listening to the guidelines advised by the, I'm just going back to the regular slide so you know what the topics are. Sorry I got cut off there. My apologies, but I just went back to the slide so you know what it was. Listen to the guidelines by the CDC and what our government's trying to say. Stay at home, please. 6 feet apart if you want to go outside. First off, it's okay to go outside. You just have to keep your distance. Wearing a mask would be awesome. Gloves. Just keep your distance when you go outside. And be cautious and smart. But most importantly, right now for all you guys is to stay active. Do a run, go with a walk, ride a bike, because that is the most important thing right now. Stay active physically, mentally. You're watching these videos during this time, so you're getting yourself mentally active. You're keeping your brain thinking, But your body needs some exercise as well. You're exercising your brains by watching these videos, but your body needs that exercise. Go run, play, ride a bike, do all of that. So I wish you guys luck. Tune into the next video if you want to go more advanced. But as of now, bye-bye. Hopefully this ends soon. Stay well and stay safe. Okay, peace out.